Good morning. And now for the rest of the story. He was the undisputed master of Europe, a military strategist whose name struck fear into the hearts of emperors and kings. He had single handedly rewritten the map of the continent, facing down vast armies and tactical brilliance that remains legendary to this day. It was the summer of 1807, and our conqueror had just signed a major peace treaty. To celebrate, he decided to organize a grand outdoor excursion for his high ranking officers and distinguished guests. His chief of staff was tasked with arranging the afternoon's entertainment, a classic game hunt in the French countryside. The chief of staff wanted to make sure the day was an overwhelming success. He didn't want to risk his commanders walking away empty handed. So he went out and he purchased hundreds, some accounts say as many as 3,000 wild animals, and released into the field. When the day arrived, the brass bands played, the entourage gathered, and the cages were unlocked. Our commander stood ready, gun in hand, expecting the quarry to bolt across the field in terror so the hunting party could give chase. Instead, the animals paused. They looked at the great conqueror, and then, as if responding to a silent battle command on their own, they charged. Not away from him, but at him. A furry tide washed over the grassy field. Hundreds upon hundreds of furry little creatures swarmed the world's greatest general. They scrambled up his boots, scampered up his elaborate uniform jackets, and climbed onto his waistcoat. The military genius, who had outmaneuvered the coalition forces of Europe, was suddenly flailing, shouting, swatting frantically with his riding crop. His seasoned generals stepped in with whips and sticks, trying to beat back the relentless tide. But the furry battalion held its ground. They divided into two flanks, surrounding the party, and drove the conqueror into a full, desperate retreat back to his horse-drawn carriage. As the carriage sped away, the ruthless attackers leapt onto the sideboards, pursuing him to the very door. You see, the chief of staff had made one tiny little mistake. To save time and money, he hadn't bought the wild animals. He had bought domesticated farm-raised ones. And to those farm animals, a human standing in an open field didn't mean a predator. It meant the man who brought them their daily lettuce. They weren't attacking out of malice. They were aggressively begging for lunch. The formidable general, routed by a hungry horde of fluffy bunnies, was none other than Napoleon Bonaparte. And now you know this historical part of history. Good day.